Hey everyone, so here we have Morphology Lesson 2. Now, remember you need to come to me for your notes and then glue that sheet, the note sheet, into your notebook in the Morphology section. And then we can go through this video and begin taking notes. So please also note, I'll probably bring it up later in the week, but this is compounding from the lesson before. So you will see questions on this next quiz, Morphology Lesson 2 quiz that you saw on Morphology Lesson 1. Please also make sure that you are writing down that this is im. It is a prefix. It means not. Look at that. Another one that means not. And then a couple examples of im are impossible and impolite. Again, back to the other ones. You wouldn't say impossible. You wouldn't say unpossible. You would say impossible and impolite. It's just part of why we have so many prefixes that mean not. Is just a way of the sound, making the sounds fit together. So either one of these works. Not possible, not polite. Our next one here is over. Over means too much or above. You can be overstimulated. You can be overworked. You can be overjoyed. You can have overslept. Okay. All of these work, but meaning too much or above. Sub is our third one. This means under or lower. I always think of submarines, subway, not the restaurant like the one in New York City that goes underneath the street, right? Subway, submarine. And again, as we've been saying with these prefixes, notice we're adding them to words that already exist. Okay. Submarines can go under the water, so the marine there being the water. And our last one for this is pre. Pre, I hope, is one that we've heard a bunch of times before. I'm sure we've taken many pre-tests. If by the time we haven't already taken a pre-test in this class before this, you watch this video. Pre-game, preschool, pre-test, precursor. There's a lot of different ways, but pre meaning before, so something that you did before. And then now we move into our roots or bases. Remember, these are the base part of a word. So you have a meaning like, you have a word like a root like verse, which means to turn. This is kind of a tough one to grasp at first, but like reverse, verses. So reverse, I think of Uno cards, right? You reverse something, you do it again, like make them go backwards, turn back to them. Verses. People always are like, how does verses mean turn? Well, if you're versing somebody else, right? Generally, each person has a turn to do something, right? It turns to them or it turns to you. So when you're verses something, I think of fighting games. You always have that person has a turn. But I mean, even in board games, if you're versus somebody else, like chess, right? Checkers, you're going against somebody. You each have a turn, right? You each turn. And then even in like your Fortnites or your Call of Duties, they still are having a turn to play the game, even if you beat them quickly and they don't even get a shot off or what have you. You still took them out very quickly. All right, our next root or base word is spect. Spect means to see. Think spectacles. Inspect. Spectrum. Spect means to see something that you're seeing. So spectrum is like the colors. The colors of a spectrum is what I think of with spectrum. Spectacle are the glasses that you would wear. Inspect is to see, like looking for something. Like you're looking. It doesn't have to be, a detective is inspecting. It can just be like inspecting your room for your phone, and then you finally see it, type of deal. Our next root is seed. Now, seed means to go. So, succeed, precede. Recede, preceding mean to go before, receding mean to go again. You see how we're starting to combine all these things together. Hopefully we're seeing how we're starting to combine all these things together. So when you see a word like recede, you know that it's going again or going back, like receding hairline. Precede meaning go before. So, the person who preceded me bought the last ticket to the concert or something along those lines, or to the football game. And our last root or base here is mono. Mono means one. I don't know any other way to put mono as being one. You have things like monarchs and monopoly. Monotone. Monotone is when your voice only has one tone to it. It doesn't go up in pitch or down in pitch. Monopoly, a lot of people think of the board game, and that's true. Monopoly is the board game, but if you think about Monopoly, there can only be one winner. There can only be one person who owns all the properties, so that's what Monopoly comes from businesses like the steel industry and the coal industry. At one point, there were certain companies that owned all the steel in the country or all of the coal mining in the country, and so they developed these monopolies, and so they actually stopped companies from having monopolies. There's actually laws in place that prevent it from happening, although there are some big businesses nowadays that kind of seem very monopoly-esque, if that makes sense to you. A monarch, the reason I brought up monarch is not like the king of the jungle, the monarch, the king of England. There's only one king of England. There's only one queen of England if they are married. So monarch meaning one. There's only one of it. One ruler is a monarch. Shun is when you change a verb into a noun. So when you think of words like construct, you make it construction, right? So construct is to actually do it, this first part here. But the shun is after it's been done or what you're doing. Decoration, to decorate something, is the verb, but a decoration is what you're putting up when you're decorating. So if you see tion added to a verb, it becomes a noun. This is where it gets tricky though, because sometimes we don't always know that they're verbs. So it's just a good rule of thumb to think of, okay, if I see tion on a word, most likely it is a noun, and probably at one time it was a verb. And then ick makes a noun an adjective. Same idea as the last one. So if you see something like magnetic, a magnet, we all have seen a magnet before. If you add ic to it, you're saying that something is magnetized, something can be magnetic. And then historic, history, add the ic to it. It is now historic. You're describing it. You're no longer saying history. You're saying something to describe it. And that's it for this week. That is unit 2. That is lesson 2. We're going to do our practice again, and then our quiz in probably, I would say, 2 weeks from now. All right, everybody. Let me know if you have any questions.